Okay, welcome back to another episode of the Day After Podcast.
What's up, guys? Guess what? I think we should say this first because if I'm assuming if you're watching, us, of all things on YouTube, you probably already know this, but we are getting a Celebrity Survivor.
Mm.
Um, I found this out yesterday, and I think it's going to be interesting. Unfortunately, Catherine Newton is not confirmed, nor is Bill Burr.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah,
but
or a Ronda Rousey. Like there's a few people who I think would have been great for it.
Well, we don't have the full cast list yet, so we have plausible deniability.
Yeah,
But we'll see. We'll see.
yeah.
It'll be funny if we actually did predict someone for
Yeah,
that show.
I wonder how many people are actually going to be on it though, because I imagine it's going to be less than normal Survivor, because it's probably going to be less days. It's going to be kind of a smaller thing. I'm imagining.
Yeah, because they even mentioned like part of the reason they haven't done one for so long is because obviously the idea has been thrown around, but it's like a commitment thing where it's like because as an actor for me, I get nervous if I'm on a week of vacation or something because I'm like, what if something happened? Because this
Yeah.
business moved fast. So yeah.
Yeah, I
So
could
I'm
see
glad.
it being like 2 weeks maybe, and with like 12 people.
I mean, if they're doing the 26 day thing, like the same as like, I mean, like if being involved in like like a short series. Oh no, Joe,
Yeah,
I'm losing you.
you're breaking up. Are you
You're
there?
breaking up with me. Yeah. Um, but yeah, so like, if you think about 26 days, like they're doing with 41 and 42, it is something where if you were attached to like, let's say a TV show with 6 episodes, it's about the same commitment depending on what your role is. And that's even being very, very generous too with because like in film and stuff, like it's a lot more days than you think, guys, depending on the project.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah, we'll see. So far the biggest star is the girl from Fuller House. I think that's the biggest star
yeah,
that they've
the
revealed
person
so
that
far.
Stephanie, I
Yeah.
can imagine while she's idol hunting, it's like everywhere you look,
Oh geez.
the memes for
Uh
that.
yeah. I only know her and Meta World Peace. Those are the only two people I know.
Yeah, she was the for me it was just Stephanie from Full House.
Yeah.
But I mean, we even discussed this, like, that's kind of like how it is when it comes to like celebrity things, where it's like smaller scale celebrities, like you're not going to see like Ryan Reynolds or you're not going to
Yeah.
see like big up and comers or something like that. It's usually someone and it's not knocking any celebrity at all for doing a show like this. I think it's cool. Um, but it's like it is someone who is not fully in the spotlight right now.
Yeah. Yeah, it would have been cool though if they could have gotten Jimmy Fallon, because I know that they kept asking Jimmy Fallon if he wanted to do Survivor. It
Or
would have been
Tyler Perry
crazy. Yeah, or Tyler Perry.
or any of like
Yeah,
Yvette Nicole Brown, like any of the fans that are celebs.
yeah. Like I think that there were options if they searched hard enough. I wonder because it seems like they kept everything to kind of the reality TV area. Like everyone kind of has either been on a reality show or in some facet, I feel.
It'd be
Um,
interesting to see, like, because we've obviously had celebrities on the show before, like Mike White and
yeah,
Lisa from Philippines.
yeah.
So you never know. You never know.
Yeah. I'm hoping that they're saving a few names
I think
for a later reveal.
it'd be interesting if we get 2 trailers. Well, I don't know. It's going to be interesting because the finale, which is next week, which is crazy to think about.
Yeah.
Um, I know we're getting 1 trailer for season 42. It is possible that we get another one for Celebrity Survivor as well.
Uh-huh.
Though it is interesting, like because you would think especially so people can kind of keep track. I'm not saying like it's hard to like, be like, oh, this is what's happening in this game, and oh, this is what's happening in this game. But some people might be confused, especially like if it's very twist heavy of following everything on two different timelines.
Yeah, that's going to
But
be tough because they're releasing around like in the same area. Like Survivor 42 is going to be, kind of in the midway point when Celebrity Survivors coming out. So
yeah,
you're gonna have to track both games. We're gonna try to give you guys a podcast for both of them, so we'll see how that goes.
we'll see. It's crazy sometimes. Just doing this.
Yeah, exactly.
Because like Ryan is working League of Legends Arcane events. Speaking of which, if
Everyone
you're the
needs to
girl
see
that
it.
was hitting on me at the booth Wednesday night, I am sorry that I was missing your signals. I was just in denial. Contact me.
I'm there all the time. That's how I feel. That's you like I need someone. They need to tell me. Like I can't.
Like I was like 95% sure, but the 5% of doubt fed my mind. Anywho, Ryan's love life or lack thereof aside, let's talk about Survivor. And yeah, we're gonna do our best to do the 2 a week. And us sometimes if a video comes out Friday or Saturday, we are gonna get it. It's just it might take a while because we busy peeps.
Yeah, and as I said, I think Celebrity Survivor is going to be shorter than regular Survivor, so it might honestly, like, I could really see them just doing it in like 4 weeks or something. Like, I could see them kind of just doing it like that. So we'll see when it comes out.
We'll see. Or it could be something where it just starts off at the merge, or like
that's what I'm thinking. I'm thinking that they're if they do tribes, we're gonna have the tribes for like a couple episodes and then go to a merge. Like it's gonna be.
I don't know. I feel like because like you like a short pre-merge, but at the same time, like if it's only for like 3 episodes or 2, then what's the point? You just get into it if you're gonna do it.
Yeah. Well, yeah, we'll see.
Though it would be interesting to just start off at a merge because I know some people were interested in seeing how that would play out.
Yeah, I see that also just because they'll probably want to have all the celebrities on the jury, and that will be the best way to do that.
Yeah. Alrighty, so all of that aside, let's talk about this episode. So it kind of starts off with, the aftermath of Liana being voted out and everything.
Mm-hmm.
And, Deshawn and Heather have this like heart-to-heart on the beach. And, it's something where, especially with the last few years, it's about us, like learning and stuff like that. And, Heather getting more screen time and stuff like that. Say what you want about her with her edit or like how she's been playing, which we're going to get to that in a second, because there was one thing where I'm like if spoiler alert, it's the Erica being worried that Heather is going to steal some votes, but it's something where it's kind of like what we said last week. It's hard for us to really be in that headspace. So it's like asking the questions and stuff like that, as allies, things like that. And it's moments like that where kind of like what we said last week, where it is kind of like it is definitely a new school game, but it is giving us as those hints of like old school and like of like people interacting, and especially in a more woke era, seeing that. And then I think the bigger takeaway was what Erica said about having a female winner. And
I just gotta say I think Erica's winning the season.
After this episode, I think she has. If Ricard doesn't make it to the end, I feel like Erica wins. However, we'll get to that at the very end.
If Ricard gets to the end, I think he beats everyone. But I think Erica is then the next choice if she's at the end with anyone else.
Yeah. But like, Erica was like saying like it hurt me to get rid of Liana because of like people wanted a women winner for a long time, and we're big advocates for that. Like,
Yeah.
um Winners at War, I was like, it's gonna be Kim. And
Yeah.
this one I was like, it's gonna be Shan. And like,
Yeah.
it's
Island
something
of the
where
Idols, I had my first 4 picks be women because I thought for sure that a woman was winning that season.
for me, 6 of my picks, though granted I kind of inherited Heather just because she was the last one to be picked. But
Yeah.
for me, on this, I had six women.
Yeah.
It's just kind of like how like we do want to see a female winner because in the sense where they haven't cast a non-binary or gender fluid contestant yet. Each season it's like 50-50 whether or not it's going to be we're going to get a female winner. And ever since 34, or if you want to be technical, and like if we're talking about like a non-returning player winner, we haven't had one in like 5 years. Actually, if Erica doesn't win, it will be about 5 years because Game Changers was in 2017. We're approaching 2022, so almost 5 years we have not had a female winner in America. But it
Which
is a
is
little
not, yeah,
crazy.
that's weird because considering early days of Survivor, it was trading back and forth between male and female. Like it was a very like it seems like maybe with some of these advantages and twists that maybe that's being given more benefit to guys over girls. Maybe that's causing a problem. I'm not sure.
I don't know how it happens. Like,
Yeah.
I don't think it's just like luck of the draw or anything like that, or
Yeah.
because it's like it would be a good discussion video, especially if Erica doesn't win.
Yeah.
But like, how come we haven't had a female winner? And we go from we'll start it at like 32, or we'll start at like 32, and why and looking at Michelle's win and victory, and then going forward from there of like, all right, how come this didn't happen? Like, anywho, that aside. And, it's something where I kind of agree with her because, we do want to see that whether we're, affected by it and representation or not, like it will be cool to, see that. Or I think it honestly is going to be cool. Like, this season we would be on the map because we would have our first, Filipino winner.
Exactly. And Canadian winner.
And Canadian,
Yeah.
it's just like,
she checks a lot of boxes as first.
Yeah. And it makes her, like definitely stand out. I mean, she's already part of Survivor history because of well, I mean, not in the good way because of those hourglass twists. However, like, she'll be tied for that. Her legacy won't just be the hourglass thing.
Yeah.
But, I think the only downside of her win that I can see people doing is kind of like similar to a Michelle Fitzgerald scenario where she pretty much you didn't see her too much in the pre-merge, and then she kind of just shows up and like merge and stuff, and then makes it the end.
Yeah, I have said I thought when the pre-merge was happening that I thought the winner of the season is going to be someone that comes out and has a breakout few episodes near the end of the game to win the game because
she is definitely a sleeper.
Yeah, because it's just the editing of the season. It was so weird because they never give so much attention to people right before they go out, like in a way where like Brad, for instance, was a huge screen presence, even though he's only in 3 episodes, but he's a huge screen presence for all 3 of those episodes. Like he's a big thing. So, yeah, same with JD.
JD, sorry.
Yeah. So it seemed kind of weird that they kept building up these people just for them to go out in a couple episodes. So
I think it keeps you guessing.
Exactly. So I always kind of just thought that there's going to probably be someone they're saving their edits for the end, and that's going to be when we see them come out. And we're hearing everything through Erica right now. Like every decision, we're hearing how Erica thinks about it, and is it best for Erica? Even if I don't necessarily think she's the one that's really orchestrated it. Like I think we're hearing her thoughts about why she thinks that works.
Yeah, I mean, because like we're definitely in the game where we can analyze everyone's, game at this point.
Mhm.
And I feel like one of the battles she's going to have, because also it's interesting because they kind of like confirmed, that it is going to be a final 3 at the very end of this episode. There is going to be a fire making challenge and 2 immunity challenges left.
Yeah.
Like Jeff confirmed all of that.
Yeah.
And so I would say that one thing is that because like she is going to be, if she makes it to the end, she's going to have to be like, oh, how did you go from the bottom, or were you just going with what other people were saying and being like, well, I'm in the middle, so I might as well choose, as opposed to being that. I would say that's the only thing that's kind of like what she's going to have to fight against, is being like, because the middle is a great position to get you further in the game. However, if you're not one to initiate a lot of it, and I think she already did a good job of like doing jury thing, where I was like, yeah, I could have gotten rid of Ricard. However, for the long term, it was more beneficial to get rid of Liana right now. And there is an argument to be made there. I mean, it's one of those things where it's like a high risk, high reward, which was another theme in this episode of keeping Ricard around. And like everyone is talking about it openly, and Ricard knows, like, yeah, I'm a threat. He's he's like 2 immunities away from being tied with the most individual immunity wins. Like, I can see him do it too, where he takes it out near the end.
Yeah, and even just one more, and he officially joins the true challenge beast. Like right now, he's in the challenge beast like of the season kind of tier with the 3 wins. But if he gets one more, then he's like in the survivor challenge beasts tier.
Agreed. Like, and so like that's part of this episode. It's like, and they were like, oh, like it has to be Ricard. It has to be Ricard. It has to be Ricard. And then I wouldn't say that Xander was having second thoughts. He was like, I need him around for at least one more.
I just think it's so I think you don't want shields at this point of the game, honestly. Like you want to take out your shields after, like I feel so bad for Danny because he goes home here because they didn't take out Ricard when they had the chance, basically. Now Ricard has a potential just like straight shot of if he wins an immunity and wins a fire making challenge, now he can.
And they took the basis of last challenge because Deshawn was closest. Also, I have to mention that their puzzles, you have to give credit to them because they're doing it on both sides of the puzzle. And that's why at home you'd be like, how could they possibly do that? That's so stupid that the U is upside down. And I don't know if that's how any of you actually speak. I'm sorry.
You just dumb down our audience like a lot.
That was just the voice that I chose. I do some VO work and I'm gonna anyway. My real it's like, well, when you think about it, having to solve a 2-sided puzzle makes it even harder because like not only does it have to match one side, it also has to match the camera side.
Exactly,
which is why survival puzzles are trickier in that thing. And I think that's something where unless you're a really good observant person and a fan of the show, it might not really occur to you that that's something you have to prepare for, because obviously you can get like jigsaw puzzles very, very cheap, like even at the Dollar Tree.
Yeah.
not sponsored.
I was
But
kind of hoping that Erica finished, honestly, because I saw that she had a few things that were upside down and stuff, and I would have loved if
Yeah.
she kind of did a Ben Dreber again and was like, "No, you're used wrong," you know. Like I was hoping to get that moment, but you know, it never got called out, unfortunately.
no. But it's something where they took the basis of that challenge.
Yeah.
And I mean, Deshaun hasn't really done too hot in a lot of the challenges, and yeah, neither has Danny as that result. But like,
Yeah.
I think and Xander even said it. He's no longer a threat now. I think that could play well for him in the sense of like, because he's already guaranteed Final Four, and in Final Four, it's very, very flexible on
Yeah.
staying alive because you can't get voted out. You just have to at the very least, make fire at the end.
Yeah. I mean, imagine if he takes out Ricard at Final Five, then he is in the Final Four against Erica, Heather, and Deshawn, all people who are kind of known for not being the best challenge performers, actually. So,
well, yeah. And I feel, all right, so there is you can kind of predict what the final challenge will probably be because the most popular one is the, rotating balls.
Yeah.
That's usually one they like to use at like the final one.
Yeah, there's that one, and then there's the disc one. They like the disc one as well. Yeah. Yeah, and then we also know that Final Five is probably the showstopper challenge, like the big kind of like crazy,
where you have to collect a bunch of stuff, and then solve a puzzle at the very end.
Yeah.
I also have to say about the fire making, this could be foreshadow, and if it is, I need to like give myself props for picking up on this. But when Danny is going to search for, the idol and stuff, when they show back in camp, we see Ricard making fire.
Oh.
And so I'm like, in my head, is this kind of like foreshadow that he's going to be? Is that the editors being like, he's going to be in the fire making challenge and he's going to win because he knows how to make fire?
Yeah. I've also heard a lot of people saying that because they showed Deshawn freaking out about Erica costing him the game or back in the pre-merge, that they're going to be going against fire against each other. And we've also seen Deshawn not be good at fire. Like he tried making fire early on and didn't do it successfully. So there's a lot of like, is he going to also be the fire maker? I don't know.
Well, I mean, it really depends on because we can only go on based on the data we have.
Yeah.
And Ricard is pretty, I would say, well-rounded when it comes to challenges, not only just because he won 3, but like, he was one of the people that was kind of carrying UA, but like obviously
he was one of their better ones. Yeah.
And it's something where he definitely has it in him to like win that. And so I'm gonna make assumptions, making an ass out of you
and me.
Not you, the audience. So assuming that Ricard wins the Final Five challenge, and then Xander, even though he's been holding on to that idol the entire time, even if he doesn't think he would go home, he might as well play it.
Yeah.
And so it's either going to be Deshawn or it's going to be Erica at this point.
Yeah. Yeah. And also remember, there's going to be another idol, it looks like, that's going to be in play at this new island that they just went to.
And this might actually be Erica's downfall in the sense of like, if Deshawn finds that idol because he feels like he's on the bottom. Now, Erica has like, been called out like she's playing a great game. Very sleeper. And now like, oh shit, now she's like a big threat. That maybe, he's going to be on her.
Yeah.
But, something where Deshawn is like, he has, or at least he perceives to have like no wiggle room at all. So like, it's like, he has to find the advantage. It's going to be interesting because other than, people using like extra votes and Sydney using her shot in the dark, up until this point, we have not had a single idol played.
Yeah, honestly, advantages in general haven't been played, which I is kind of unfortunate in a way because we've had so much focus on the season on advantages, and they spend so much time taking the time to give people advantages and show them what the advantages and talk about the advantages, and for them just to then not even be necessary in the story
I think
does
that's rather
kind of
poetic.
yeah, I mean, like I wish that they just weren't there and we just had that extra. Like there was that episode where Brad goes out. They spend 20 minutes working on giving Brad an extra vote. Like it was so much buildup for ultimately nothing that built into anything.
Well, I think it was because, with that being said, it's like when you have events in the game, there's somewhere it's like, all right, so we've established the prisoner's dilemma thing. And, like granted, we've seen them this season draw out like, oh, there's only like one challenge, and then like the rest of the episode is like, all right, who they're gonna get rid of for like 30 minutes. So like they have it in them, but I think especially in early stages, they wanted to like, give us like the prisoner dilemma thing.
Yeah,
And
I just feel like with Survivor, if because they know the full story when they're editing it. Like I think if they know that a advantage or a twist has zero relevance in the story, like in terms of just like it does not factor into anything. I think they can edit it out. I don't think that they needed to spend that whole time to do that. Or at least just make it shorter. Like, don't spend 20 minutes on it. Like make it very quick.
Like, yes, but also it's like it could have been like the whole thing with Xander on the sit-out bench thing. Like because like they didn't have to show.
Yeah, but that doesn't take any time though. What I'm saying is specifically the ones where you are having to spend the entire like 20 minutes of an episode dedicated to something that has no relevance. Like at least like they could have, if they wanted it, they could have had it been like at the start, Jeff Probst has been breaking fourth walls, like have him have a voiceover or something, say like, and now we got we had hid something back at the camp, and we got 3 survivors that found that thing, and then have them come in on the boats, like that, have that be kind of like the setup to it. Like I think that would have suffice instead of having a whole big buildup of everyone looking for something and then being like, okay, now I got to go sneak off, and now okay, here we are.
Maybe it's kind of like what you were saying earlier, how this season definitely didn't want you to like guess who the winner was by like giving time to like people that were going to be early boots. I think of it like, spoiler alert for the Suicide Squad, for those who haven't seen it, like skip ahead like 2 minutes. But like, it's kind of like 3, 2, 1. It's kind of like, they introduced Team 1, and we thought, okay, it has Harley, it has Flag, it has Captain Boomerang. They're from like the first movie. So obviously, like they're going to like, stick around, and then Team 2 is going to join in later. And then, pretty much everyone on that beach gets massacred or like critically injured or like, barely survived or gets captured. And then like how's Team 2 doing? And then it's just them. I think like, that's something where they want to also keep us on our toes and subvert expectations, especially since their Survivors trailers don't really reveal too much about like who's going home and when. And when it comes to the like the EW interviews that they were doing, they give pretty much equal share to everyone. Like, like we all thought like, Brad was going to be a little bit longer in there. I didn't think he was going to be out 4th. I knew he was going to be like a pre-merge boot, but I thought he was like right before the merge because he was going to be seen as like a threat down the road.
Yeah.
But then again, with how UA just kind of like just got brutally decimated.
Yeah, I feel so bad for everyone on that tribe, to be honest, because I think that there were some people who were great characters on that tribe Yeah.
Jeannie.
I mean, I think Brad and JD are bigger characters than Jeannie.
Well, I mean, I was rooting for Jeannie. She was just like relatable
Yeah.
and like chill. And then
Yeah.
also, like, Sarah, I was like, oh yeah, Sarah, she's gonna,
Yeah,
do so well.
they gave her her backstory in episode 1, made her us feel like, okay, yeah, go Sarah, you got this, and then bam, she's out. um
Oh,
but yeah, I definitely want to see Brad or JD come back for like a pre-merge or maybe on a second chance ballot or something.
I feel second chance is going to be interesting if they do it for like more modern Survivor,
Yeah.
especially since I feel like them and then obviously Sydney, because like
Sydney's yeah.
Sydney is a lock. I feel like Sydney is like, Jeff will be like, look, Sydney's gonna be on this, okay?
Yeah, you got
She has a place locked in.
you're voting for 9 women. Sydney's already on.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I just think after that twist and what production did to her, I think she has to come back. Like there's just no way around that.
Yeah, that was like anywho, that aside. All right, what else happened in this?
Let's go to the reward challenge actually, because we haven't talked about the reward challenge yet. So we get to the rewards, and Jeff says you get a choice. You can either have chicken and veggies, or you can have a bunch of desserts with cake and cookies and candy. And Deshaun pulls a kind of almost Richard like I thought he was going to pull Richard Hatch actually here and say, well, that doesn't seem like it's worth playing for. I thought we were going to get letters from home.
Yeah, I guess because this season obviously we didn't have a loved one episode, unless they're saving for the Valley, which I'm like, no, they're not.
Yeah, they don't have time for it,
especially with COVID. But it's like one of the things where like even in the earliest days of Survivor, like back then they did like video messages and stuff like that. Like they've always had something. And then there's always like letters from home and something. I mean, that could be something that they're saving for the finale, because they have done it before where, that was like their final push of like inspiration.
Yeah. I just feel like this would have been the perfect season for the Survivor auction. Like if you're not doing the loved ones, do the auction, have the letters. Like that would have been the perfect time to have that. And people are always like, oh, there's like these rules now about how the auction is played. Just change the rules. Like just say there's no advantages here.
They literally they literally are making the game however they damn well please.
Yeah, they're changing other aspects of it. Just change the auction a little.
Yeah. I still don't think it's just the Mike Holloway thing.
Yeah.
Because it was like one of those things that was like coincidental timing, but it's like it's something where, and it's also funny to watch people pay like $40 for nachos, and we're not talking about LA or New York, but like we're talking like something you would see at freaking, it's like the movie nachos at AMC where they hype it up like, oh, they're movie nachos. It's like, fuck, it's something you would find in freaking Lunchables.
I just love seeing them get so excited over just like regular
Lunchables.
Just normal, like it's not like high quality food or anything, but they're just so excited because they haven't eaten. And but there's still like a little bit of strategy just in terms of like am I going to spend my money or all that kind of stuff. Like there's still kind of like a little bit of fun variance there to it. Some people like to just pocket the money, which I always like to try to figure out who's doing that.
I mean, like you're already getting a bunch of money for being on the show, especially if you made it this far in. You're already getting like a handsome paycheck whether you win or not.
If you are the first boots, you're guaranteed $12,500.
That's well, some individual.
Because that's also assuming you're going to the reunion show. You might also just like not go to that and then you'll forfeit $10,000. So
Yeah, I don't know. I've seen people do it in the past, but
Yeah.
teach their own.
Yeah.
But I think it was like a nice little challenge. Like for these, it's like I see why sometimes people gear away from like those kind of challenges because like, the stakes are, they either win, get food or not. And sometimes it plays into the game, like, oh, reward meetings.
Yeah.
But
And also like I think you can still have the advantages. Just don't say that it's an advantage. Have it be a covered item and then reveal it as an advantage. Like that would be, I
yeah,
think, a way to, make people
to be
not
like
know. Yeah.
yeah. Um, but for this one, and I think it did show, granted, it's a team thing, and the team, it's more than one person, playing.
Yeah.
But I think it also like, all right, so Ricard can bleed. He can be stopped. I mean, like, I don't think that was necessarily like
Mhm.
unassumable because like, he only prior to this won 2 challenges.
Yeah. And one of those challenges you got to remember it was only half of the
Half of the people.
yeah.
Granted, it was a stacked amount of people too.
Yeah. Oh yeah, it was the challenge beasts basically. Like everyone who's good at challenges were in that one. So
Yeah. So I don't necessarily so like, like, yeah, he only won like 2 up until this point, but now it's like, okay, since he won a third, it's like maybe like if they need some sort of inspiration out there, they can be like, look, or like Deshaun beat him in the basketball portion of that challenge. Um, so it's like the god can bleed. Um, you know,
yeah.
uh I guess we'll have to like see. I do like the fact that they were like, yeah, we want, and I think it's kids watching the shows. It's funny where it's like, oh, do you want vegetables and chicken or do you want, sugary stuff? And then, like Xander's like, we're gonna get the protein. And like Erica's like, yeah, we need the protein and stuff, and like we don't want a sugar crash. I think that's like, it's like eat your vegetables and stuff and you could win Survivor.
Yeah. I mean, I
Um,
think that's the right choice, honestly.
yeah, because as someone who is, because like sugar does give you energy and stuff, but
Yeah.
the thing is, sugar gives you immediate energy,
Yeah,
not
exactly.
long term. And well, I mean, in general, with how
Mhm.
carbohydrates work, um,
Yeah.
it's something where you either need that instant energy like right then and now, or that long-term energy like you would find in peanut butter,
Yeah.
where it activates later because peanut butter takes longer to like break down. That's why peanut butter is such a high value thing on
Mhm.
Survivor,
Yeah. Tyson.
as good old Tyson Apostle has
Yeah.
has
Yeah.
proven.
I will
Um,
say I was a little upset with, I don't know if you saw the preview that they released yesterday, or I mean
I
the
did
day
not.
before. But in that they basically spoiled who wins this reward challenge. Erica
I
straight up says that Deshaun, Xander, and her won the chicken reward. So I knew
I have
immediately.
I have a small confession.
What?
I knew Danny was going home before I watched the episode.
Oh, you did?
The thing is, I'm good about spoilers. I'll even do this thing where I'll go on Facebook before the show starts and I'll type, and I don't post this. I make a post, and it's like, Ryan, don't go on Facebook until you watch the latest episode of Survivor. And I don't close out of it or anything. So when I press the Facebook icon, boom, it's there. So I don't get any spoilers.
Mm-hmm.
But when I went on YouTube, and I think it's because I watched the Ponderosa for freaking Shan,
Oh
where
yeah.
it kind of was like, it popped up in my recommended. And, with my phone, always hearing all my conversations and
Mhm.
everything, it was going to pop up in my
Yeah.
recommended. And it was the very first one. And at first I was like, oh, wait, that's Danny. And he's talking, wait, is that Rashad? No, that's not up. And then in my head, I'm like, oh no.
Yeah.
and it was just for like YouTube because I got off work.
Mhm.
And like I was just like, all right, what's in my subscriptions? What's something I can watch while I wait for my Uber in my Uber?
Yeah.
And so like it kind of got swallowed for me that I was like,
Yeah.
damn.
It's weird because up to this point, all the Ponderosas have been released honestly a few days after the episode, but this one came out the day of. Like I
I think
was,
it was purely because I went on there right
yeah,
after.
yeah. It was one of the
They were like,
ones where you had to watch it the day after. Truly,
yeah, it's like, how dare you,
yeah.
Ryan, try and sustain yourself?
Yeah, which by the
Um,
way, it was another great Ponderosa. I just gotta say,
I didn't watch it because like I literally just watched the episode like
yeah,
this morning.
yeah. Danny plays rugby with the resort manager.
Oh, really nice. That was the guy in the thumbnail, wasn't he?
Yeah. That was really fun.
Well,
Also, Liana and Shan were exploded on him.
exploded, as in like they
They
went off on
they
him.
went off on him. Yeah, they were not happy. So that might be an indication on how they're feeling about the game.
Deshaun as well. I mean, all
Yeah.
right. So I think because obviously we know Ricard wins and everything. The one thing we have to talk about, like they both kind of know that there's not really much they can say, Deshaun and Danny,
Mhm.
to save themselves.
Yeah.
And so they were like, and we kind of saw that with Shan and Ricard, except that was more of a blindside. This was the thing. It was like, look, it's you or me.
Yeah.
Out of respect for each other, we're going to play one against the other. Because even if they band together and say tied it on, let's say, Erica, neither one of them can vote in a tie. So the three people that haven't voted will just go like, all right, all Danny, Bisies.
Exactly. Yeah,
So
yeah. It's honestly, I'm glad that Deshaun and Danny had the wherewithal that they needed to vote for each other because we've seen it in Survivors past where alliance members refuse to vote for each other, or one of them will refuse to vote for them, and they go
the
home
other one
because of
does.
that. Yeah,
But I mean, like, I think it's like, because everything's out in the open in this season, which is it does scratch your head a little bit, but it is a thing of like, and especially between them, since they have been a tight duo since the beginning, since the very first like twist where, they were carrying water and everything, it's one of those things where they've had like a long bond. They're like the last duo that was left.
yeah.
And
They,
so
they have like a brother bond. It's like they even said
exactly, they
this.
even
Yeah.
said like that they were like brothers and stuff. Um, and so like when Danny went home and stuff, it's like I know like you do think of like, all right, how is this going to pan out, especially since the finale is next week, and who's going to get votes from who?
Hmm.
Um, and like thinking about Deshaun and his gameplay and stuff, yeah, he was control. He helped orchestrate a blindside against Shan, who was like a big, big threat. And granted, it's hard to like say whether or not the shot in the dark, or not the shot in the dark, the dead or alive, or do or
Do or
die
die.
twist, because like it's honestly sheer luck.
Yeah.
However, it's like, it's something where I feel like he is one of the people where he does have to like, if it's like, let's say him, Xander, and Heather, I think regardless, he has to like argue why he would deserve to win. I mean, I do see why, because he like controlled the game, helped blindside, Shan and stuff. Granted, it blew up in his face because then they were like, well, there's four of us, there's three people, and they cannibalize their own thing. Why don't we just get rid of them? And it's like a hard scenario to like picture him winning in that sense. I mean, like, I think his best shot. All right, so if Ricard makes it to the end, no matter who he's up against, he wins.
Yeah.
Erica, I feel like she's like second.
Hmm.
I do feel like it's a toss up between Xander and Deshawn.
Yeah.
Because one, both Leanna and Shan apparently have ill feelings towards Deshawn. Well, I mean, I don't think Liana would have ill feelings towards like Deshawn and stuff, because like they were in a scenario where it was like they tried to save her, but like no one wanted to vote with
Yeah,
them.
it seems like Liana is more upset actually that Shan got voted out because that caused her to go out the next episodes. So it
True.
seems like she's upset at them for the domino effect that they created.
Yeah, and I mean like that
Yeah.
is something where it was a good blindside, but sometimes like
It was a little too early, I think.
a little too early, and then it's also like, I mean, to be honest, looking at everything, you know, they wanted it to work, but it was just like the chemistry was not there for that alliance to work. And
Yeah.
like, you see that all the time with like, either at the beginning of the game or like, at the merge, basically when new people get together, you try and like, work together with who you think you are. And like, it's like, all right, let's stress test this alliance. And,
Yeah.
sometimes they don't pan out. And this is one, especially in a fast paced game where it was like, all right, this one isn't working out.
Mhm.
And sometimes you have to, as Philip has said, get rid of your alliance before your alliance gets rid of you.
Yeah.
And, he kind of, he and Danny were like, yeah, it is kind of like Shan's time to go because she's a bit too dangerous to keep around, not just from like a strategic standpoint, but also from a wild card standpoint.
Yeah.
Because
Well,
like if you have someone who is a strategic beast and a wild card, because usually the two don't go together, but when it does,
mhm.
that's fucking dangerous.
Yeah. Well, you also have to remember, it was really Ricard's move to get rid of Shan. Like it was really him that kind of orchestrated the entire plan. And actually, he got the numbers. And in the Ponderosa, Danny even tells them like, "Hey, there were already the numbers for it. We just ended up, our choices were either to go with them or to tell you to play your idol, and then." We're still in the minority, we're still going to be trying to fight from the bottom pretty much. So
Not if there's still four of you.
yeah, but it's still Sanders still has his idol as well. Like it's still not like it's not the ideal situation for them in that scenario to save someone who's been
Well,
very
the fact that they were wishy-washy on that in general, it kind of like whether they were kind of wishy-washy about, working with Shan.
mhm.
And Deshawn was like, he really wanted to work. He was like really trying to make this alliance work. It's just that, like, and admittedly, Shan was trying to do her own thing there. And like she said she was open and stuff, but it did come across like it was her way or the highway. And yeah.
Yeah, and I think that's also. I don't think Shan realizes that she was doing that, and
Maybe
that.
when she looks at the edit and everything,
Uh-huh.
granted the edit's the edit, and like maybe on the island, and I know like I said this earlier, the whole thing like, Erica being concerned that Heather is going to steal some of her votes since they played a very similar game. And I gave like a little like look, I'm like, I don't think you have to worry about that. And I'm
Yeah.
like, who knows out there, maybe they do think that, Heather is playing a
Yeah.
decent game.
Yeah, well, that's the thing about edits is that we're not being shown Heather, so we all are just immediately discounting what Heather is doing out there. We don't know what she's doing. Like she could be playing honestly a very good game, but we just don't see it because they're just deciding that that's not important to the story for some reason. I
Exactly.
don't know.
It's kind of like in Gabon with, is it Susie?
But yeah.
With like Susie, like for me, with the edit they had, and also I really like Bob. So as you guys know, he's one of my favorites. But like with the edit, Susie was just kind of like and the fact that she almost won, and it wasn't like, oh, Bob won by a landslide. It was actually rather close.
1 vote.
Too close for comfort.
We almost had Susie Smith be a winner of Survivor.
Yeah, and so didn't she end up on the top 100 or no?
I don't know.
I think she was one of the people. I think she was, and I questioned why.
Yeah, I
Um,
don't know.
I mean, she did win a few challenges near the end, but like still.
Yeah. Are you saying Heather will be the runner-up of the season, get more votes than like a Xander or a Deshawn or
It
Erica?
might. Well, it depends on that. I feel like the only win condition for Heather is a vengeful jury,
Uh-huh.
and B has to be there with Deshawn and Xander. And it has to be a vengeful jury, and we're not talking like we're talking like Boston Rob All Stars levels of vengeful jury.
Yeah, I can actually see her getting runner up if she's there with Deshawn and Xander, because I think she's getting Erica's vote for sure. Like I think she would definitely get Erica's. And I could see her getting Tiffany's as well. Like I could see Tiffany maybe voting for her.
They fall in the same archetype and stuff.
Yeah, so I could see that. And then assuming that then either Deshawn or Xander are hated quite a bit and getting 0 votes, like I could see her getting a runner-up edit, or not edit, but coming in runner-up. Are you there?
Yeah, I mean, oh yeah, I hear it. I heard like the latter part of what you said about like her getting the runner-up. And I think it's like, all right, like, since we're kind of going through the win conditions, Ricard is pretty straightforward. He gets to the end, he wins. They even said like he's the best player in it. It's like inarguable. With Deshawn, it is something where he has to do a lot of damage control. I don't think Xander necessarily has to do too much Xander control, damage control, in the sense of like, look, he was on the bottom and he needed to like further his game. He didn't want to, use the idol on an ally just to be voted out the very next time. Like, I get that. He did promise, but like, I mean, it's tricky when you come out there as, supposed to be like a good guy and everything, and a loyal guy. And then when you go back on your word, when you already go out there as such, it does, like tarnish your kind of brand out there a little bit. I mean, in Survivor, you have to do these things.
I'm really worried about Xander's chances in the jury phase, to be honest. Just because I'm looking at everyone on the jury and I don't really see anyone who's going to go to bat for him. I see like the people who should be going to bat for him are actually upset about him. So that's not a good spot to be in. Yeah.
I think it's something. I think one of his greatest strengths is just his charisma and.
But you're breaking up even more.
Oh, do what?
Are you there?
We're breaking up.
Yeah, you're.
I am there. How much of
not much. You're kind of cutting out. Okay, are you there?
Yes, I'm here.
Okay, cool.
How much of what I said did you hear?
Not much.
So it's like Xander I've said this before, Xander is a very genuine guy and he's a very good talker and stuff like that. And he's very charismatic. So like he can really pull it together with the final tribal and like really motivate people that way, because we have seen people like make or break their games with final tribal. So I feel for him, it has to be Deshawn and Heather, and he really has to sell it, because like if it's between, assuming that, yes, Heather's going to get a few votes because of allies, but like if it's like between him and Deshawn, like they're going to be like, for the people that aren't aligned with Heather or don't think that Heather deserved to win, it's like, all right, who's the better speaker? And I feel like both of them actually are very good speakers. Like Deshaun,
Mhm.
he's been known to like speak from the heart as well in the Survivor,
Mhm.
mostly about, like how much he wanted to have like, an all black finale and stuff like that, and like how much it would have meant to not just them but the community as well. And like, he knows how to, speak from the heart and touch people
Mhm.
and being genuine through that way. um so he has it in him, he definitely has it in him. He's in enough game where if he's not overshadowed by Erica or get votes. Um, it's just like I would say that Xander and him, they have to face off against each other to really win. And I feel like Erica is definitely second place. However, if one of the two of them give a really, really, really convincing one, I feel like Xander has a better chance in the sense of like um always kind of being a target, even when he was on the Yasa tribe, and then being a dead man walking,
Yeah.
things like that. He
Yeah.
might have a little bit more on his resume, though. Where Deshaun is like, he's been on the right side of the votes for a while, and it wasn't until like recently where he kind of was struggling.
Yeah. Yeah, we're gonna have to see because I'm still not fully sold. Like I think the edits tells us that
Yeah,
Xander is great, that he's playing this great underdog.
yeah,
I just don't know if everyone else is seeing like sees that really. I think
yeah,
that they're it does. I will say I do think that we might have a bit of a bitter jury, like people not fully voting for gameplay reasons. I think we
yeah.
are going to get very emotional, like I'm voting
Personal.
for this person because of maybe something outside of the game. Um
I
and
mean, to be fair, and here's the thing about the jury system in general.
uh
For those who might think, and I kind of had this thought after we did our last one, like, because we did talk about people choosing because of not just like who they want, who they want to, be a winner, but more so the representation and stuff like that.
mhm.
To those who are like, oh, I don't want that. Like, no, I do want people to vote based on like the best gameplay. However, we have literally chosen, or people have literally voted based on picking a number in the past.
Yeah.
So chillax, people. At least like this is an actual reason where the other one is just random chance.
Yeah, Richard Hatch wins purely by picking the right number.
Yeah. Well, I mean, they gave him a vote. Yeah.
Yeah, well, it gave him the winning votes.
True.
If he
True.
picked a different number, regardless of the game he plays, he loses.
Fair. So yeah, guys. Yeah, they're gonna vote however they're going to vote, and like and it's kind of like a thing of like just how the lens you things because perception is reality, and it's like even let's say if Xander did all that, if you don't like him, you're not gonna vote for him, and that can be said about social game and stuff, which I don't think Xander played a bad social game at all. Like I'd say the only like wrong thing he did was loving Liana.
Yeah. Best
Like I
secret
saw
scene.
that I saw that deleted clip, and I'm like, I feel bad, like
Yeah.
because like Liana wasn't like, oh, that's cute, but no, she was just uh, like she was like, I'm not really, I don't find that cute or anything. I'm like,
Yeah. Well, what's weird is that there's two different edits of it. So was that there's one that had them almost have like a big bro little sister kind of vibe to it. And then the other one was like where Xander was crushing on her. And it was just like interesting that they had two different versions of this same kind of scenario.
yeah. Well, I mean, I think that's just the thing about you have a male and a female friend, and you would think in a more modern society, I think it's not like a sometimes if you see two people together, regardless of even sexual orientation, like
uh,
sometimes if you don't know anything about them, you're gonna assume, oh, maybe they're a couple,
Uh-huh.
or or like even if like two people start hanging around for a while, and let's say they're known to be like, attracted to like said gender or whatever, and like, they're hanging around each other a lot, and you kind of like know them, maybe not deep, 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 you might make assumptions like, ooh, maybe they're starting to have a budding romance and stuff. I think that's just like something us as humans just naturally kind of like look out for,
Sure.
budding romances,
Yeah.
in general. But yeah, so I do think I feel like both Xander and Deshawn, they make it to the end, they really, really have to sell themselves to the jury.
Yeah.
And I feel like Erica really, really has to like own her game and own the sleeper game, and like
Yeah.
be it more so in the sense, one of the good things about being in the middle, yeah, it can be a bit of it's more of like a safer place to be, but it's also a thing where the biggest argument you can make is like, well, I influence a lot of the game being from the middle and stuff like that. And I think she knows that too. And so if she says that, she has a pretty good chance of winning if she makes it to the end. And I feel like at the very least, if she's against Ricard, depending on like, I feel like Ricard has like a 95% winning against anyone,
Yeah.
but I feel like Erica does have some credibility where she can at least get runner up, or if like she really, really, really like Oscar worthy or Emmy worthy stuff,
Yeah.
she can pull it through with, and beat Ricard.
Yeah. Or if he truth kamikaze is Ricard.
Yeah. But we'll see.
Yeah.
All right, I think that's everything. I'd say the only thing is like, all right, who is the MVP?
MVP, it's got to be Ricard.
I kind of want to be like, I kind of want to give it to Erica in the sense where this is kind of like where you see her game blossom. Like it was like you really saw how well her you kind of like really piece together. Like if there was any naysayers, like last week I was like, I still put Xander above Erica, but like this week, especially after watching this season, I'm like, yeah,
I'm seeing her winning game, to be honest. It's there. It's not there.
Exactly. And so I'd say I'm gonna give her the MVP for this week. And LVP, I don't think anyone really did a bad job.
Yeah.
I hate just like slapping it on Heather, but
yeah, I don't even want to give it to anyone, to be honest, because I don't think anyone played a bad game. Like
I was just like, given the circumstances of everything, I'd say the only thing would maybe be Danny not finding the idol, but then again, it's not even in the usual idol hiding spots, because usually they love hiding it with broken tree, stumps.
Well, and also recent seasons, they've had it just at like waist heights, like on a walking path. Like that's been where they've hidden it in recent seasons. So, we can't possibly give someone an LVP just because they didn't find an idol. Like that is like the worst reason
so
for
it's
it.
Like, all right, well, that's it for this episode. We will see you guys in the finale.
Now for a 3-hour episode. It might be a longer podcast next week because we're gonna have a lot to talk about.
Yeah, and also Spider-Man is coming out the next day, so we'll see how when that comes out, we're gonna have to talk about that in general.
Yeah, exactly.
Because I know I'm seeing it at like 3 p.m.
Got it.
Just because that was like the earliest possible time we could get tickets, and like we were both like, we gotta see it, no spoilers. So we don't.
I'm gonna be really afraid because I'm watching it Christmas Day, because that's our family tradition, is to watch a movie on Christmas. So when Spider-Man is the one that we've decided, so I am gonna be away from the internet, try not to get spoiled.
It's a good thing that we only really have one more Well, actually, no, because we're doing, brand
Brand
steals and
steals, yeah.
we have other fun videos planned. But
Yeah.
like, yeah, it's only like it's like just over a week where you have to avoid the internet.
Yeah,
Um,
exactly.
just
It,
like, and
it'll
then
be fine.
whenever you go out in public, do what they did on How I Met Your Mother and wear like sensory deprivation goggles.
Yeah.
That was hilarious.
Yeah, we need to get some like earplugs that only work if Spider-Man comes into a conversation.
Give it like 5 years. They already have stuff where if someone's talking to you, the volume automatically lowers and stuff.
Yeah,
I've one of my shift supervisors at an old job claimed to have had that, and like apparently it kind of worked that way. But
interesting.
tech stuff aside, if you think that's interesting, maybe maybe your adolescent child might enjoy headphones where if you talk to them, they can't turn up the volume. Anyhow, so that's it for this video. We will see you next week, and we will talk about all the Survivorness.
Yep, we'll break down this season pretty much and explain how the we get our next winner. So
Yeah.
so
All
yeah.
right. Take
Okay.
care, guys. Have a good weekend.
Adios.